This is a review when you are multiplying exponents. The rule is when your bases are alike, when you multiply, you add the exponents. Just imagine this being 9 C's listed out 9 times and then 8 C's listed out 8 times. So if you add the 9 plus 8, the base is still C, but your exponent is 17. Same thing here. We add our exponents. The base is V. When you add 36 plus 6, you get 42. Here, this G does not have an exponent, so we put a 1. And now let's add 9 plus 4 is 13, plus 1 is 14. G to the 14th power. Now, this one got really complicated really quickly, but I'm going to show you how to separate it one by one. First, we're going to look at the coefficients. We have a 3 and a -5. Those do not follow the rules of exponents. So you actually do multiply those together because they're not exponents, they're plain numbers. 3 times -5 is -15. Now let's, oh, sorry, I missed a 2 as well. So that's going to be a -30. Now let's look at your A's. You have 5 A's and 3 A's. Well, 5 plus 3 is 8. A to the 8th power. Now let's look at the B's. B to the 4th, B to the 9th. 4 plus 9, 13. So that one's -30, A to the 8th, B to the 13th. So now let's look at this one. You have an 8 as a coefficient and a 4 as a coefficient. So we actually multiply those. 8 times 4 is 32. Now this X, we need to put a 1 with it. So now here's a Y, put a 1 with it. So now let's look at all the X's. We have X to the 1st, X to the 4th, X to the 3rd. So we add the exponents. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8. X to the 8th. Now let's look at your Y's. Y to the 1st, Y to the 4th. That makes Y to the 5th. So that's your exponents when you're multiplying. And here's an iExcel. If you wanted to practice, go to 8th grade, F8. Dividing is exactly the opposite. So when you're dividing, you subtract the exponents. Keep the base. So if we're looking at this one, we know that we have two A's on the top and 6 A's on the bottom. So where is there going to be more A's? Well, there's going to be more A's on the bottom. So I'm going to say the bottom one wins, and it wins by 4 because it has 4 extra, 6 minus 2, and there's nothing left on top since this one won, so we're going to replace that with a 1. 1 over A to the 4th power. Here, who's going to win, the top one or the bottom one? The top one, so the B is going to go on top, and it won by 1. It had 1 extra. We don't need a denominator for this one. Here, we don't have an exponent, so I'm going to put a 1. There's the 9 wins, so the X is going to go on top, and 9 minus 1 is 8. It won by 8. So that's your answer for that one. Now, these last few, I added in some coefficients. So we're going to look at those just like regular fractions. 5 over 10 reduces to 1 over 2. So we treat it like a regular fraction or division problem. Now let's look at your A's. Who wins, the top or the bottom? That'd be the top. 1 by 1 extra. And the B's, who wins, 8 or 4? That would be the one on top, and it wins by 4. So this would be your answer. And actually, some would probably leave the 1 out because you don't need the 1 as a coefficient. This one, 4 over 12, reduces to 1/3. The X's, the bottom one won. So the bottom one gets it, and it won by 3. And the Y's, the top one won. So when we subtract, you get 2 extra. So really, we could probably get rid of that. And here's your answer. Finally, here we have 6 over 3. That actually reduces to a whole number 2. Now look at your X's. The top one wins by 4. So the X has got to go on top because that's the one that won, and it won by 4. The Y's, put a 1. The one that's bigger wins, so that's where the Y goes. It's on the bottom, and it won by 9. 10 minus 1 is 9. Put a 1 with this Z. The top one wins by 7.